more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
Well, for those of you who wish to return to watching the game, you can do so now at the YouTube site. We're back up and running there. Jamestown Jammers and the Newark Pilots on a Sunday afternoon. Jammers need a win, and right now they got a couple of miles to go to try to get that. And once again, we have some dropped frames on the feed. Sorry about that. We restarted everything, and that's the way it's going to be the rest of this day. Not looking at it again. Colton Carney, the leadoff batter for the Pilots in the top of the sixth. He is 1 for 2 on the afternoon, singled back in the fourth, and struck out swinging in the second. 1-0 the count to him. Swing and a miss on the pitch from Isaac Meza, and the count evens at 1-1. One ball, one strike. Pitch over the outside corner, strike two. Carney behind, Isaac Meza, no balls, 2 strikes. Shakes off one sign. Does Isaac? Takes a second one that Conley gives him. 1-2 pitch. Off-speed delivery, and Chris tried to pull that one up into the strike zone and frame that. Did not get a buyer. Counts even at 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Carney, the leadoff batter here. Ground ball down the third base line, foul. Backhanded by Estrada in foul territory. Count remains at 2-2. Colton Carney of the Newark Pilots against right-handed pitching, that is hitting .222. Gets a piece of that, stays alive at the plate. Count still 2-2. Ryan Markey delivers some balls out to Tim Adams now. Next man up, I guess. Against the Jamestown Jammers, Carney's hitting .286, and that'll go down a little bit as he swings and misses for strike 3. 1 gone in the Pilots' half of the sixth. And that'll bring up Josh Loeffler. Loeffler at the plate for a third trip. Loeffler has been on base 2 times, singled and scored back in the third, walked in the fourth. Up here in the sixth, bunts. Way out toward the mound, easy for Meza. Picks it up and throws him out. Bang, bang. And there are 2 out. Quickly.
Second baseman number 8, Zach Santoro.
And this will bring up Zach Santoro. 2 out, nobody aboard for Zach. Popped out to Nick Bernick for the final out in the 4th inning. Line drive, right field, coming in Stack. He dives, and he'll make that catch. Had to drag went down on his left knee and dragged his right foot. There's a divot out there in right field, but the bottom line is he caught that. And Isaac Meza says, thanks for keeping my pitch count down there, Zach Santoro. Line drive out in a 3-up, 3-down inning for the Pilots in their half of the sixth. Obviously no runs, hits, or errors, and nobody left at the end of 5.5 to score. Pilots 4, Jammers 2 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Well, Zach Mann got his uniform on for good reason. He's in the ball game now. And that'll do it for Will Frank as he goes 5 against the Jammers. In those 5 innings, Will Frank, the right-handed starter, faced 23 batters, gave up 2 runs, 7 hits, walked 1, struck out 5, 87 pitches for Will Frank, 57 strikes, 30 balls. Now it's up to Zach Mann to continue on. Jammers trailing by a pair. Colin Stack leading off for the Jammers in their half of the 6th. And on the season, Zach Mann is 2-2 with a 6.44 ERA. This is his 16th appearance, and he now leads the staff in appearances. 29 1/3 pitched, has given up 24 runs on 34 hits in those 29 innings pitched. Opponents averaging .291 with Mann on the hill, but the first pitch to Stack's a strike. That one at the knees, strike 2. Nice changeup by Zach Mann, quickly ahead of Colin Stack, 0-2. Stack with a great play in right to end the inning, leading off here in the bottom of the 6th. And he's 0 for 2 to this point. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. High chopper toward the shortstop, waits for it to bounce up to him, makes a strong throw over, does Graham Hackbarth to Will Alaka, retiring Colin Stack for the first out here in the bottom of the 6th. One gone, and Alex O'Donnell to the plate.
Shortstop number 1, Alex O'Donnell.
OD's been swinging the bat of late. Came into the game with his average up to .219. Been progressing each and every day. But he has good performances at the plate. Up there now with 1 out and nobody aboard. Mann's first pitch is high, ball 1. Alex O'Donnell from Lockport, New York, attending Mercyhurst. 1-0 pitch on its way. Over the outside corner, taken by OD, and the count's even at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitches outside in the dirt in the left-hander's batter's box to the right-handed hitting O'Donnell. Count is 2-1. That pitch is in the dirt, ball 3. Spurts through the legs of John Parker and back to the backstop. OD against right-handed pitching is hitting .238. And against these Newark Pilots, Alex O'Donnell on the 2017 season is hitting .174. 25 at-bats so far against him. Squares to bunt, pulls back, and takes strike 2. Counts full now, 3-2 on Alex O'Donnell. Zach Mann ready with the 3-2 pitch. Cut and a miss, strike 3, blew it by him. OD could not catch up. 2 up, 2 down. It appears to be a great move by Franklin Bush. Bush took over as the interim head coach and has been in that position now since pretty close back to the beginning of the season. At the plate, Christian Deaton watches the first delivery from Mann go over the outside corner. Strike one called. Christian's 1 for 2. Singled in the fourth, stole second. We couldn't get him in back in the fourth inning. Fly ball out to Mark McKenna for the second out of the second inning. That next pitch from Mann misses low, and the count's even at 1 on Christian Deaton. Here comes the 1-1. Inside corner taken by Christian. Count now 1-2. Deaton enjoys playing against the Pilots. He's hitting .375 against them coming into the game. Hits that one a high. No, I'm sorry, it was a line drive. Little dying line drive that's cut off by the shortstop Graham Hackbarth before it hits the ground, and that'll do it as the Jammers go in order in their half of the sixth. No runs, hits, or errors, nobody left. We've now completed 6 at Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park, and the score, Pilots 4, Jammers 2 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Pennswood.net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Pennswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Pennswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Pennswood.net Classifieds has it. Pennswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
I'm Little Teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and
pour me out. This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Well, the Jammers need to get down to business here, trailing by a pair and 3 innings left to try to get back into it, at least with a tie, and maybe try to get out of here with a win. But that was an impressive performance by Zach Mann out of the pen there in the bottom of the 6th. Isaac Meza in from the pen, and the first pitch is fly deep to right center field to the deepest part of the ballpark. Skylar Valentine gets underneath and makes the old over-the-shoulder catch of the deep fly ball off the bat of Mark McKenna for the first out here in the top of the 7th. Once again, the YouTube feed back up and running if you want to take a gander at that.
All right, 7 innings stretch next.
Graham Hackbarth, the shortstop of the Pilots, steps in. Hackbarth is 1 for 2. First pitch to him by Meza misses outside low, ball 1. RBI so far in the game on a single for Hackbarth, and he scored 2 of the Pilots' 4 runs on the afternoon. Scored after he had that RBI single and then walked and scored in the 5th. 2 runs for the Pilots in the 3rd, 2 in the 5th. They lead it 4-2. One hopper, what a snag by Chris Estrada, gets up and throws in plenty of time to get Hackbarth. Estrada down to his knees, snags that one out of the air, and gets up and makes the throw to Brookover. 2 up, 2 down.
Now to bat at third baseman number 2, Hunter Wells.
A guy that can make some pretty good plays at third himself. Hunter Wells steps to the plate with 2 out and nobody aboard. Meza's first pitch, a line drive, 1 hopper. Ben Brookover snags that and wins the foot race to the bag. 3 up, 3 down. Isaac Meza very efficient in that inning, retiring the Pilots in order on, let's see, how many pitches to McKenna?
runners and no men left on base.
No, McKenna was everybody first ball hit. Isaac says thanks as he heads back to the dugout. No runs, hits, no Jammers errors, and nobody left on base at the end of 6.5. Pilots 4, Jammers 2 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live United. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusi. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Ground crew finishing their 6 1/2 inning drag of the infield manually, and they're off the field, and Nick Bernick's at the plate, ready to face Zach Mann. The first pitch to Nick, swing and a miss, strike one. Nick at the plate for a third trip. He is 1 for 2 on the afternoon, singled back in the second up the middle. 0-1 pitch by Mann. Misses outside, counts even at 1. Parker tried to frame that with a little movement, but wasn't quite close enough to get that call. 1-1 pitch. Held out there by Parker that time, and it's ball 2. 2-1 the count. Jammers with single tallies in the first and the fifth for their 2. Swing and a miss by Nick Bernick, and the count is now 2-2. Activity in the Pilot's pen. Don't quite know why. Doesn't seem like Zach Mann's in any particular trouble, although that's ball 3 to Bernick. Count full at 3-2. Isaac Meza came in relief of Chris Valamont this afternoon. 3-2 pitch on its way to Nick. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Meza in 2 2/3 has thrown a grand total of 21 pitches. That's what you call some pretty good efficiency. 1 out, nobody aboard. Chris Conley steps up.
Back up the bat for your Jammers, catcher number 17, Chris Conley.
Conley 1 for 2 on the afternoon and has scored 2 runs. He walked back in the first. Fly ball out to center fielder McKenna in the second, and then doubled and scored in the fifth. At the plate, the first pitch by Mann misses, ball 1. 1-0 the count. Nobody aboard, 1 out here in the Jammers half of the 7th. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Misses outside, ball 2. 2-0 the count. Chris Conley, 6'1", 230 from Derby, New York. He is a Golden Griffin. 2-0 pitch. Right over the inside corner, taken by Chris. Count now 2-1. Four runs on 5 hits for the Pilots. 2 runs on 7 for the Jammers. Line drive up the middle into center field, a base hit. Excuse me, John Conti, but the fact is he just keeps getting on base. What can I tell you? Chris Steffel will step up. Chris singled back in the first inning.
DH number 25, Chris Steffel.
Called out on strikes in the third, and then hit a line drive out to center fielder Martin McKenna. Just a little too much air underneath it. First pitch to him is low, ball one. Third baseman Hunter Wells in on the grass at third. Situation that, yeah, maybe you would think that there'd be a bunt. I don't think Steffel was bunting in this case. 1-0 the count. The pitch by Mann. Ball two, misses outside. Counts now 2-0 to Chris Steffel. Steffel's season average at .308. Today in his sixth game and fourth start. Today is the DH in the ball game. 2-0 the count on him. Zach Mann's pitch. Ground ball in the hole between first and second, knocked down by second baseman Santoro. Makes the throw to his shortstop. Hackbarth pulling him off the bag, and Chris Conley getting in safely. First and second and one out. And Ben Brookover steps up.
Now up the bat for your Jammers, the first baseman, number 30, Ben Brookover.
Well, talking about turning points earlier in the game, this could be a big one for the Jammers here. You have guys at first and second and just one out, and Ben Brookover at the plate. Ben an RBI double back in the fifth, driving home Conley. First pitch to him is high, ball one. 1-0 the count. Activity in the Pilot's pen. Try to pick up a number for you, see who is up and loosening. 1-0 the count to Brookover. The pitch by Zach Mann, outside low, ball two. Looked really good retiring the Jammers in order back in the sixth. Has struggled a bit here in his second inning of work. Now one of the Pilots on a dash down to the bullpen. 2-0 pitch. Brookover pops it up over the press box, and the count goes to 2-1. And that was a late crashing of the glass, but I guess that one went a long way before it came down. Two balls, one strike. A small critique of the PA and music guy. That's Norm. You walk into the press box every day and you go, Norm. An attempted cutoff there by Will Alaka, but it gets away from him. Steffel held up at second base. Brookover, another RBI on the afternoon. On a single up the middle. Nope, they charge an error on the play.
Coming up the bat next, the center fielder number 2, Skyler Valentine.
Steffel at second, Brookover at first. It's 4-3. And pitching coach Bennett Schultz out to the mound to talk to Zach Mann as the loosening continues in the Pilot's pen. Could be the last batter that Mann faces, depending on how he fares against strikes and 14 for balls. And we'll see if Martinez can close the door on the Jammers like he did in a recent start against us, with a ton of strikeouts, by the way. Situation he's facing is Steffel, California, attending Cyprus, wrapping up his sophomore campaign this spring. And it's down to business against Chris Estrada, RBI leader of the Jamestown Jammers, coming into the game. He had 32. 1 out, bases loaded. Corner infielders in. And Estrada takes the first pitch high from Martinez, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Middle infielders at standard depth with 1 out. 1-0 pitch up the middle, base hit. 1 runs in to score as Steffel comes in, and it's going to be station to station. Throw comes all the way in from Mark McKenna over the head of Will Alaka, and it was right to the plate. Steffel comes in. The Jammers have tied it here in the bottom of the 7th at 4. Add another RBI to the Chris Estrada RBI column. And now Colin Stack becomes the 7th batter to the plate in the inning. 1 out, bases still loaded. Stack watches the first pitch from Martinez go outside, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Third baseman Wells just a bit in from playing even with the bag at third. Alaka in on the grass at first. Stack fouls 1 off at the plate. The count's even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Brookover at third, Valentine at second, Estrada at first. Those guys can run for a while. Ooh, big cut and a miss. Stack thought he had one he could drive out of the ballpark. And the count is now 1-2. Colin Stack with 3 long balls on the season. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch. Off-speed delivery over the outside corner. Strike 3 called. Colin did not agree, but he just pulled his back away, his bat that is away, and turned his back to home plate and walked toward the dugout.
Now up the bat, the shortstop number 1, Alex O'Donnell.
2 out, bases loaded for OD. Tied at 4, bottom of the 7th. First pitch by Martinez, outside low, ball 1. Want to know the count to OD? Alex is 1 for 3 in the afternoon. Couple of strikeouts swinging and a single in the 4th. That pitch, ooh my. That looked awfully low and the fans react to that one. It's called strike 1. One of the fans in the home plate grandstand really riding Tim Adams. And we'll turn that down because there are some words that we should probably not allow on the broadcast going on. That one's fouled off the webbing of the catcher's mitt of John Parker. Strike 2. Counts now 1-2. As a matter of fact, the commentary being sent out to Tim Adams was loud enough that O'Donnell took time out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 out. Bases loaded. OD swings and misses strike 3. Martinez gets him, and that'll do it for the Jammers, who, by the way, struck out the entire side, struck out, but there was a whole bunch of hits between the first strikeout and the last 2. Good enough to get 2 runs across for the Jammers. 4 hits No errors for the Pilots, and the bases left loaded. At the end of 7, the score, Pilots 4, Jammers 4. We'll be back with the Pilots half of the 8th right after this on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Hey everybody, Rachel Ray here. Nothing puts a bigger smile on my face than cooking up a big meal for family and friends. But there's not enough room at my table for the 17 million kids in America who are struggling with hunger. These children, that's 1 out of every 5, often have to skip meals because there's just nothing to eat in the kitchen. There's more than enough healthy, nutritious food produced right here in America to feed every last hungry child. If only there was a way to get it to them. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across our country. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America at your local food bank and at feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
And we're back for the top of the 8th inning in a tie ball game on a Sunday afternoon at Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park. Will Alaka, Over Torres, and Jonathan Parker do up the middle third of the Pilots' batting order to face Isaac Meza. Heading toward his 3rd inning of work, and the first one is right over the inside corner, taken by Alaka, strike 1. Will on the afternoon is 0 for 3, did reach on a fielder's choice there in the 5th. Line drive, left field, going over Christian Deaton toward the line, makes the catch. Nice play by Christian Deaton in left to retire Will Alaka for the first out here in the Pilots half of the 8th. We've talked a lot about patient at-bats in baseball, and the Pilots here over the last couple of innings exhibiting anything but. A lot of first ball swinging and hitting, and of course Isaac Meza appreciates that. He has 1 out, just throwing 2 pitches here. Over Torres fouls back the first Meza offering, strike 1. Over with a double that brought in 2 back in the 5th inning. Otherwise called out on strikes 2 times in the 2nd and 4th. 0-1 the count here. 1 out, nobody aboard, swing and a miss. Nice pitch by Meza, off speed. Torres way out in front of it. 0-2 the count. Isaac Meza with the 0-2 pitch. High outside, count 1-2. Back to a waste pitch during a count. At 1-2. That one's right down the pipe. Strike 3 called. 2 up, 2 down. Brings up the catcher, Jonathan Parker. Parker's 0 for 3 on the afternoon. Struck out swinging for the 2nd out of the 2nd. Fly ball out to Valentine, 2nd out of the 4th. And hit a weak roller that was fielded, and a good throw to first by O'Donnell got him for the final out in the 5th. And making sure that was an out was Ben Brookover. Standing there after taking the throw from O'Donnell. Line drive. Hopped right in front of Nick Bernick and over his glove and into right field. 2 out single for Jonathan Parker. And it brings up DH Colton Carney at the plate for a 3rd trip. 1 for 3 this afternoon. Struck out 2 times in the 2nd and 6th. And he singled back in the 4th, and Hayden Carter comes out of the Jammers dugout to talk to Isaac Meza. 2 out, runner at first. And Colton Carney will walk down the 3rd base line to talk to Franklin Bush. 4 runs, 6 hits, and an error for the Pilots. 4 runs, 11 hits, and an error for the Jammers. Colin Johnston, our pregame guest of the player profile, is loosening down in the Jammers bullpen and just getting some work in down there is Michael Ginther. Tim Adams walks Hayden Carter back to the dugout. They both have smiles on their faces, so that's a good exchange between the two. And Isaac and Chris decided that the ball that was out there wasn't good enough. Chris throws it to the Jammers dugout and gets a new one from Tim Adams, and everybody gets reset. 2 out, runner at first. Waiting for Isaac Meza to buckle down and get the final out here in the top of the 8th. In a tie ball game. Popped up. That should be the final out. Nick Bernick out into shallow right. Makes the call and the catch. And that'll do it for the Pilots in their half of the 8th inning. No runs, 1 hit, no Jammers errors, and a runner left on base. We have completed 7.5 in the score. Jammers 4, Pilots 4 in the Jammers Baseball Network.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Back for the Jammers half of the 8th. It'll be 8-9 and 1 due up to face Henry Martinez. Came in and signed Jammers. And everything is set now. Counts even at 1. One ball. No wireless mic remained on after the contest there. Now 2-1. 1-1 pitch to him. Squares to bunt again. The piece of it and fouls it at the feet of the catcher, John Parker, and the count 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Inside, got his sleeve of his jersey. Toss over to first, and getting back in safely is Jimmy Standahar. Standahar with speed down there at first. He does have 13 stolen bases on the season, has been caught 4 times. 0-1 the count. Henry Martinez, third pitcher of the day for the Pilots. 0-1. Parker tried to frame that one, pulling it back up into the strike zone, but Tim Adams saw it as ball 1, and the count is even. 1 ball, 1 strike. Standahar with a pretty standard lead off the bag at first. Conley with a check swing take, and he checked it all right, but it was in there, and it's strike 2. Counts now 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out. Runner at first is Standahar. Conley's been at the plate 4 times, been on base 3. Once with a walk, once with a double, once with a single. Has scored every time he's been on base. Has 3 of the Jammers' 4 runs. 1-2 the count. Henry Martinez with a 1-2 pitch. Conley pops it up. Shallow, left center field. Center fielder McKenna comes a long way and kind of looking a little bit like Skylar Valentine there, as he's able to run a pretty long distance to come in to catch that, and didn't look like he was running hard at all. 2 down.
Chris Steffel.
Chris Steffel at the plate. He scored the tying run an inning ago when the Jammers scored 2. Singled back in the first, called out on strikes in the third, a line drive out to center in the 5th. Reached on the fielder's choice last inning, but as I say, came around to score the tying run. The first pitch to him missed outside from Martinez, the righty on the hill. Steffel, the left-handed hitter at the plate. Quick toss over to first base. Standahar back with no problem. Standahar has had that same basic lead the entire time that he's been on. Check swing by Steffel, and the ball gets away from Parker, and that allows Standahar to get the second. And just on the appeal, Adams checks with bases umpire Gary Benton, and he agrees. It's ball 2. 2-0 the count. And now the go-ahead run in scoring position. Chris Steffel up there against righties, hitting .400 coming into the game. 2-0 pitch. Inside corner at the knees, and the count is now 2-1. That pitch is in the dirt, squirts away from John Parker, but no advance possible by Jimmy Standahar as it popped right out in front of the plate. It's ball 3 and the count 3-1. Steffel appeared in one game against the Newark Pilots, went 0 for 2. That pitch looked to be ball 4 to the point where Steffel was ready to toss his bat over to the dugout. Adams says strike 2. So it all comes down to this. A full count on Steffel, runner at second, Standahar, and 2 out. And Steffel calls time and steps out of the batter's box. Martinez likes to work at an accelerated pace, so let's see if that timeout helps a little bit. That one's low, ball 4. Steffel gives that a real toss over toward the dugout. Makes his way down to first base. Standahar at second, Steffel at first, 2 out. And here's Ben, 2 for 4 in the afternoon. RBI double back in the 5th, bringing home Conley. Hit a single in the 7th, made it to 3rd. We couldn't get him in. Otherwise, a fly ball out to right and hit one back to the pitcher in the 3rd. First pitch is in the dirt. Parker keeps it in front of him. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Jammers trying to make a little 2-out lightning happen here. Deaton started the inning with a line drive right at Hunter Wells. Then Jimmy Standahar was hit by a pitch. Chris Conley, a fly ball out to center. Standahar moved down to second on a pass ball to Parker. And Steffel just walked. The count 1-0 on Ben Brookover. Standahar with his lead off a second. If anybody's going after him, it's Santoro. Shortstop Graham Hackbarth is playing in left field. Fouled off by Ben. And that hits that little gap between the home plate grandstand and the first base bleachers. Counts even at 1 on Ben Brookover. Ben steps out, adjusts everything, and is back in and ready to go. 1-1 pitch. Popped up down the right field line. It's going to be out of play in the bullpen. The pitcher who's warming up makes the catch of the pop-up off the bat of Ben Brookover. And now the ball comes back into Hayden Carter. That'll probably make its way back to Tim Adams for inspection to see if he wants to return it to the ball game. 1-2 the count on Ben. Big opportunity. Jammers and Pilots tied at 4, bottom of the 8th. Pitch. Trying to get Ben on some high cheese and said, nope, I like Velveeta. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. The pitch by Martinez. Line drive up the middle. Base hit. Barone sends Standahar. The throw comes in. It's cut off. Brookover drives home the go-ahead run. And the Jammers lead the game by a score of 5-4. Yes, indeed, a little 2-out lightning. Thank you very much. Ben getting his second RBI of the afternoon. He's off second base. To buy a little insurance. Conti with the speed at second. Brookover, not exactly a slow guy down at first. And the Jammers, if they can add on, great. If not, if they can hold on and win this, they'll get even with Martinez. As Henry was able to shut us down at Newark last trip out there. And now the Jammers have scored the go-ahead run here in the bottom of the 8th. First pitch to Valentine was a ball. Next one's over the outside corner. Counts even at 1. Schuyler 2 for 4 in the afternoon. Picked up an RBI back in the first. Driving home Conley.
6, John Conti.
1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch to Schuyler. Checked his swing, but it was over the outside corner. Tim Adams says strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 out. Jammers have taken the lead for the second time in the game. They led 1-0, and not until the bottom of the 8th have regained the lead at 5-4. That pitch is outside and low, ball 2. And now you have the true deuces wild. At bat, number 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, and 2 on. You'd be playing that hand just about anywhere, huh? That one just misses for a ball. Martinez started toward the dugout. Parker held it there long enough to order from Pizza Hut. And it's ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 2 out. This would be huge if Schuyler can get one of these 2 guys in, if not both. And we know Schuyler can do it. And now the catcher, Parker, says something that trips Schuyler Valentine's trigger. Stepping in between him is Tim Adams and tries to do the old cooler heads will prevail. Schuyler then exits the home plate circle, goes down to the base, Anthony Barone. While that's going on, Parker slams his catcher's mask into the dirt. 3-2 the count. Here we go. All comes down to this. 2 out. And Martinez steps off the rubber, and Conti scampers back and touches up at second base. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Martinez pitch on the ground toward the shortstop. He has trouble with it, and he won't come up with it at all. Conti had rounded the bag at third, slipped and fell, and scrambled on hands and knees to get back to the bag at third. Graham Hackbarth will be charged with an error on the grounder by Schuyler Valentine. Looked like it was the final out of the inning, and instead it loads the bases for Chris Estrada. Estrada drove in a run in his last at-bat an inning ago, and the first pitch to him is low, ball 1. The leading RBI guy. 1-0 pitch by Martinez. Line drive, center field, coming in and making the catch is Mark McKenna to bring the Jammers rally to an end. They do score 1. They do that on, believe it or not, 1 hit. There was an error charge to the Pilots, and there were 3 runners left on base. We'll see if that haunts the Jammers here in the top of the 9th. That's where we're headed. We've completed 8, and the score, Jammers 5, Pilots 4 on the Jammers Baseball Network.
Pennswood.net Classifieds offers the freshest, most recent classified ads available with over 1,500 new ads each day. If you're looking for a reliable used vehicle, check out the multiple ads daily on Pennswood.net Classifieds. From cars, trucks, RVs, and motorcycles, you can scan the ads at Pennswood.net at any time of the day or night and find something that fits your needs. Looking for household items, student housing, or even a new pet? Pennswood.net Classifieds has it. Pennswood.net, where you can buy, sell, or trade locally.
Chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again. But just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
Who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really, really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan.
Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Russell Lee Dietrich Jr. Park, and enter pregame player profile guest Colin Johnston to the hill. As you could make the case that he is one of two closers for Anthony Barone's Jammers. Connor Ryan's been serving in that role. Connor had a rough outing last night. Colin Johnston has 4 saves on the season. This will be his 16th appearance. He's headed to the All-Star game, 26 1/3. Has given up just 2 runs on 2 hits for a .68 ERA. He's walked 8 and struck out 18, 229 average against him. The big red righty on the hill, Colin Johnston. First pitch misses inside low, ball 1. 8-9 and 1 due up. Josh Loeffler at the plate with a 1-0 count on him. The 1-0 pitch by Johnston. Over the outside corner, the count is even at 1-1. One pitch. The tying run is on for the Pilots here in the top of the 9th. It will bring up second baseman Zach Santoro. Santoro on the afternoon 0 for 3.
Second baseman number 8, Zach Santoro.
Santoro grounded out to Ben Brookover unassisted back in the 3rd inning for the first out there. Popped out to Nick Bernick for the 3rd out of the 4th. And a line drive out to Colin Stack for the final out of the 6th. First pitch to him misses high, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. And of course, just needing that 1 run, you certainly expect Zach Santoro to bunt Loeffler up. 1-0 the count. Here comes Estrada. That pitch misses outside and high, ball 2. Counts now 2-0 on Zach Santoro. Two balls, no strikes. Loeffler at first, nobody out. Squares to bunt, pulls back, and launches a high pitch for ball 3, 3-0. And the Jammers fans aren't convinced that 2 of those 3 pitches were balls, but the count on the scoreboard's 3-0. Runner at first, Loeffler. Colin Johnston with a 3-0 pitch. High, ball 4. Walks Santoro on 4 straight, and the tying runs up at second with nobody out. Chris Conley out to the mound to try to calm Colin Johnston down. I don't think he was in agreement with several of the calls by Tim Adams, as the fans were not in agreement of those calls either. Hey, Tim brought a whisk broom, and he cleans off home plate. It's better than the guy last night at Geneva when he used his shoes to clean the plate off. He's not the first guy that's done that. I've seen that happen at Newark, too. And on that particular night, it was the swirling of the mud on home plate. At the plate, Martin McKenna puts a bunt down. Estrada comes in, picks it up, and throws to Ben Brookover to get Martin McKenna. But the tying run at third, the go-ahead run at second now, and 1 out. Great sack bunt by Martin McKenna to move both runners up. And that'll bring up Graham Hackbarth, the shortstop of the Pilots. Top of the 9th, Jammers up by a run, 5-4. Runners at second and third, and just 1 out for the Pilots. Colin Johnston's first pitch is high and inside to Hackbarth, ball 1. Hackbarth calls time. And not sure exactly what the discussion is about between Franklin Bush. He's trying to pick perhaps a pinch runner for Zach Santoro. And they're taking their time getting somebody ready. It looks as though Christian Orr is going to come out of the dugout to run for Zach Santoro. The count, 1-0 on Hackbarth.
Pinch running for the Newark Pilots from Saginaw Valley State, number 4, Christian Orr. Yes.
So Orr now the runner at second. Loeffler at third. Just one out and a 1-run lead for the Jammers. We're in the top of the ninth. Colin Johnston on the mound. 1-0 count to Hackbarth, and the pitch is outside, ball 2. Two balls, no strikes. 2 on and 1 out. The 1 out occurred on a sac bunt by McKenna to move both guys up to second and third. 2-0 pitch popped up down the right field line. One that you don't want to catch. And it falls just on the other side of the perimeter fencing into the bullpen of the Newark Pilots. Of course, if that one's caught, that allows the runner at third base, Loeffler, to tag and come home, and he could have done that easily from that point in the field. So it's a good drop or no play. I don't know, maybe Stack could have reached across the fence to get it, but it works out. 2-1 the count. Johnston's pitch misses outside, ball 3. And now the fans in the home plate grandstand are really incensed with Tim Adams. 3-1, outside low, ball 4. Bases loaded. Hunter Wells, all-star,
Now at the back, the third base
at the plate.
2, Hunter Wells.
Wells is 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Called out on strikes for the second out of the first inning. And by the way, a little note, if you happen to be at the game and you're listening, or why you'd be watching on YouTube, I have no idea, but if you're here and you're listening, you saw Anthony Barone take off his helmet on the way out to the mound. That's a serious indication of frustration as he made his way out there. Back to the Hunter Wells plate appearances today. Called out on strikes, second out of the first inning. Doubled deep to left center in the third. Walked in the fifth. And then hit a sharp one-hopper at Ben Brookover that Ben took to the bag and was able to retire Wells. So Wells steps in with the bases loaded and 1 out. Force at any base, infield at standard depth. First pitch, ground ball toward Brookover, off the tip of his glove into right field. It'll bring in 2. Stack gets there. Coming in to score, Loeffler and Orr. Newark has come from behind to take a 6-5 lead. 2 RBIs on the single and the high chopper over the head of Ben Brookover. It's 6-5 in favor of Newark.
Now at the back, the first baseman, number 27, Will Alaka.
Runner at third base now, Hackbarth. Wells down at first, still just 1 out. And Will Alaka at the plate, fouling off the first Colin Johnston pitch. Strike 1. No balls and a strike to the right-handed hitting first baseman, who is 0 for 4 in the afternoon. He did reach on a fielder's choice in the fifth and eventually came around to score when the Pilots scored 2 in the fifth. 2 has been their lucky number this afternoon. This one's popped up. Could be playable down the right field line. Standahar's going to make the catch, tagging at third, heading for home, and the throw comes in. It'll be late. Wells tries to move up the second. The throw hits him. Not caught by O'Donnell. Another run comes in. You can count that as a sack fly for Alaka. And the score is now Newark 7 and the Jammers 5.
Now to back the right fielder number 3, Olvera Torres.
Olvera Torres comes to the plate with 2 out and a runner at second, Hunter Wells. Torres is 1 for 4 in the afternoon, called out on strikes 3 times, picked up 2 RBIs on a double in the 5th. First, Colin Johnston pitches in there, strike 1, 0-1 the count. Seven runs, 7 hits for the Pilots, and 2 errors, 5-12 and 2 for the Jammers. Ground ball in the hole between short and third, cut off by O'Donnell, gets up, throws, safe at first base. Torres with the speed, a great effort by Alex O'Donnell. Torres reaches, moving up to third base is Wells. First and third now, with 2 out. And the 8th batter to come to the plate in the inning is John Parker. His Pilots are up by a score of 7-5 with 2 out and 2 on. We're in the top of the 9th inning. Johnston's pitch, a swing and a miss by Parker. Jammers 5. Come from behind here in the. Let's find. Colin Stack will lead things off for the Jammers in the bottom of the 9th inning. And we'll try to get things started against Griffin. First pitch. Over the outside corner, take. 2.68 ERA, his 15th game. He started 4. Out of the pen here, high chopper coming in to cut it off as Hackbarth, and a strong throw over to first. Stack rounds out to Hackbarth for the first out here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Now up the bat, the shortstop number 1, Alex O'Donnell. This may be the first time I played a loose.
OD comes to the plate with 1 out and nobody aboard, and on the afternoon, OD is 1 for 4. 3 strikeouts, but a single in the 4th. 1 out, nobody aboard. Griffin's pitch misses inside and low. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes to the right-handed hitting shortstop of the Jammers, Kyle Griffin, with a 1-0. Over the outside corner, counts even at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the 1-1 pitch. Catches that outside corner again, and the count now 1-2. A couple little meaner looking clouds at the moment, but not much coming in behind them. Just a cooling kind of cloud cover as Alex O'Donnell lost one to the right fielder Over Torres. He lazily drifts over toward the foul line and makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down.
Now up the bat, the left fielder number 7, Christian Deaton.
Christian Deaton at the plate. Fly ball out to McKenna. Second out of the second. Singled in the 4th. Hit a line drive, but it was right at Hackbarth for the final out of the 6th, and then hit a line drive, unfortunately right at Hunter Wells for the first out in the 8th. And the first pitch to him from Griffin is strike 1. 0-1 the count to Deaton. 7-5 Pilots lead. 2 out for the Jammers in the bottom of the 9th. That one misses inside and low, and the count's even at 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. All the Pilots at the dugout. Nobody down in the pen. This is Griffin's game now. 1-1 pitch inside low, and the count now 2-1. One look at the stat sheet. You know, Deaton is well known for his good eye at the plate with the amount of walks that he has. 2-1 pitch. Did he check his swing? It might have just been a strike call anyway. Counts even at 2 regardless. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 out, nobody aboard. Jammers down by 2, 7-5. Here in the bottom of the 9th, the pitch. Swing and just getting a piece of it is Christian Deaton, staying alive at the plate. Count still 2-2. Somewhere you can hear Yogi saying it ain't over till it's over, and it ain't over. 2-2 the count, 2 out. Nobody aboard the pitch. Misses inside. And the count now 3-2. Three balls, 2 strikes. Christian Deaton trying to reach to keep the inning going. Inside low, ball 4. Good eye, Christian Deaton. Runner at first, Jimmy Standahar will come to the plate.
Now up the bat, the second baseman, number 29, Jimmy Standahar.
Jimmy came in to pinch hit for Nick Bernick, who started the game at second base 1 inning ago, was hit by a pitch and came around to score the go-ahead run. Not enough, though, as the Pilots came up with 3 in their half of the 9th and lead this 7-5. First pitch to Standahar is ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Off-speed pitch misses outside low, ball 2. The count is 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Jimmy Standahar waiting for the 2-0 from Griffin. Catches outside corner, count now 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. Runner at first, Deaton, 2 out. Jammers need 2 to tie. There's a ground ball toward the shortstop. It's fielded by Hackbarth, the underhand toss to second baseman Zach Santoro. And the Jammers drop this one in 9 to the Newark Pilots after leading by a score of 5-4 heading to the top of the 9th. Colin Johnston has a rough outing, yields 3 runs, and the Pilots win it by a final of 7-5. 7 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for the Pilots, 5 runs, 12 hits, 2 errors for the Jammers. Both teams will have tomorrow off, except, well, actually tomorrow off, but then the All-Stars will have to be making that trip to Albany for the All-Star game on Tuesday. We will next join you here on the Jammers Baseball Network Wednesday evening at 7:05 when we host the Geneva Red Wings, which will probably be a very important game. The Jamestown Jammers dropping this game, and their record now, hang on just a sec as we fall to 27-11. Still 16 over 500, but we need to right the ship because she's a little off kilter at the moment. Once again, the final score this afternoon: Pilots 7, Jammers 5. For Anthony Barone, Hayden Carter, Scotty James, the rest of the Jamestown Jammers, and the staff here at Russell E. Dietrich Jr. Park.